back at you with another episode coming at you from chooseyourrelationships.com, author of Love Can't Wait, which can be found on amazon.com. And today I have a special guest. She has a podcast called That Trophy Wife Life. And my guest is Dayna.
Yes.
Welcome to the show.
How's it going? Thanks for having me.
Pretty good. So, how did you get started? You have like it's kind of like a comedy podcast. How did this come about?
Yeah, so I don't know. I guess I always thought that I was funny, but it turns out some of the rest of the world thought that I was funny too. Whenever I started tweeting some of the ridiculous shit that my family has put me through. I have 4 kids and a husband and 2 dogs. It's like a wealth of, fucking content from my family. And so I ended up developing a little bit of a following on Twitter and had my stuff put in like HuffPost and, stuff like that. I think I was on the Chive once, which was funny. And then I started the podcast. I just started having different guests on and just having a good time with it.
So how long has it been since you started the podcast?
Let's see here. So I started brainstorming it in 2019. And then I started it in January of 2020. And I've been doing it ever since.
Okay. So where are you from?
I'm from Pittsburgh originally, but I'm 20 years now in San Diego.
Oh, I like San Diego. I used to be in the Navy.
Oh, really? Yeah, we have a lot of military out here.
Yeah, I used to be in the Navy. I got out in 2000. That's like what, 21 years ago?
Yeah, I got out here in 2001.
Okay. So, what are some type of concepts that your podcast? Do you have skits, or is it about is it about just being funny, or how do you come up with these concepts?
So what I do is every week I have a different topic of the week, whether it is, the funniest drunk fails or, times that your mom embarrassed you or stupid fights that you pick with your husband or, like dumbest reasons people went to jail or, like every week I pick it. Oh, another fun one was, what's the dumbest reason you ended up in the ER? We got so much good stuff on that one.
It's like, I saw your TikTok got my attention.
Oh, okay.
I was like, yeah, this is kind of funny. I understand why people would laugh and why they would like it.
Well, I think that, for me, and it's so fucking cliche, but laughter really is the best medicine for me. And that's what we all have in common. We do all of these things that we all kind of go through, and then we commiserate and we laugh about it later because it's not funny in the moment, but it's funny after.
Yeah, I don't think it's good to be serious all the time.
No. And my husband will tell you, I have a very hard time being serious most of the time, to a fault, actually. Like there are times where he will come over to me and he'll be like looking deep in my eyes and like hug me close and just tell me like, you are so beautiful. And I'll be like, whatever, I just have such a hard time with that. And then I just totally ruin the moment by like making a fart noise or a penis joke or something.
So when it came to like you doing just being funny on social media, how did you know that you had something?
I don't really think that I ever did know that I have something just because I'm like, self-deprecating all the time. But you start to gain a little following, or like people will tell you if they like what you do, they tell you like, oh, you're so funny, or stuff like that. And after you hear that a couple of times, I was like, fuck yeah, I'm funny. Like you start to believe it.
Yeah. So, how much time does it take you to do, let's say, a podcast episode? How much time does it really take you? Do you do the editing, or someone else does it, or what?
No, I do it all. I taught myself. I'm one of those control freaks also, and so I taught myself how to edit. I taught myself how to do graphics. I taught myself how to do the intros and the outros and the visuals. Everything I did on my own, and so I mean, I have it all saved now, so it's much faster now. But if I'm recording an episode, I typically like to go about 40 minutes when
Yeah.
I'm talking with my guest. And then if I need to cut something down, I'll cut it down, or I'd rather over record and then cut it to what I want it to be.
Yeah.
Or, sometimes I go 40 minutes and it's 40 minutes long of an episode. It just really depends on, the guest and the banter and, all of that. But it doesn't take me that long, I guess. It just takes me probably maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours to get it all done. But I upload to YouTube, I edit my videos, I edit the audio and, uploading everything, writing the descriptions. And people don't realize how much actually goes into it's a lot of work.
Tell
My
me
friend's,
about it.
yeah, my friend's son, he's 14, and he was like, Mom, Aunt Dana doesn't really have to do anything though. She just gets on a microphone and talks. And she was like, no, that's not at all. I'm like, well, I gotta write the episode. I gotta get the guests. I gotta, like, it's a lot of work getting into
Wow.
podcasting.
I've been doing this. I've been on YouTube with this channel for like
Mhm.
8 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is a lot. It
Yeah.
can be a lot of work. It can be. I
Yeah.
have help. I can't.
Yeah.
In the beginning, I did it all myself.
Yeah.
'Cause I didn't know of any place to look for help.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a lot.
Yeah.
And I thought about quitting a couple times. The only reason I didn't quit is I have followers that say, "Oh no, come on, man, no, no,
Yeah.
come on, man."
So do you do seasons? Because that's something that I find gives me a kind of like little break in between. Is I'm like, okay, I'll do 25, 30 episodes and then I'm ready for like a month off.
In the beginning, I did like an experiment.
Uh-huh.
I did like one video every day for like 90 days.
Oh, wow. That is a lot of work.
Yeah. And I'm talking like, this is video from my cell phone, from my camera at the
Yeah.
time. And then after 90 days, I started getting a lot of traction within that 90-day span.
Mm-hmm.
And after the 90 days, I started doing 2 videos a week. And then after about, 3 years, I went to 1 live video a week and 1 upload video a week.
Wow.
And I've been doing that ever since.
Wow. I still have never gone live. I don't trust myself to go live on my own channel.
No, I think you would be fine. I think you would be fine.
Or maybe I get nervous too. I'm like, what if nobody shows up? What if
I was
nobody
like
wants to
that.
watch?
No, you know what? I thought about all that stuff. People will show up. I
Yeah.
think I thought that hey, I would be nervous. Now I was nervous the first time.
Mhm.
But after about the second or third time, it just came natural. But I'm a kind of spontaneous person anyway.
Yeah.
So even if I messed up, it wouldn't seem like it.
You know, that's funny because whenever it comes to editing, I don't cut out a whole lot. The only thing that I really cut out is if there's like too long of a pause somewhere or something like that. If I like trip over my words or, say something stupid, I don't cut that out because I feel
No.
like then I'm being, you know, inauthentic with how I'm talking. Like nobody wants to hear perfect wording and audio and every time. They wanna know, like, "Oh, no, you mess up your words too,
Yeah.
or you misspeak sometimes, or whatever." Like, you can't be relatable if you're trying to make everything, like, perfect the entire time.
Yeah. And people, I learned that with my when I started doing videos for my I had an iPhone at the time,
Mhm.
and the iPhone videos would get more views than my camera videos. That
Why
so
do
I
you
was
think
like,
that is?
I think people they just like the real thing.
Yeah.
They don't really care about the graphics flashing all over the place. Not as much as we do anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because I call it a viewing party, but my husband and I, every Sunday night before the new episode drops, we go outside. We have a TV out there, so we put it up on the TV and, have a glass of wine and watch the episode. And every time that I'm like if something, I don't know, if I say something or something went wrong with the video or I had to cut something or whatever, and I'm just like waiting for him to notice it. And then the time will go by and I'm like, oh, no, the only person that sees that shit is me. Like nobody else cares at all.
Yeah, you know. So, what most of your viewers are men or women?
Shockingly, men. I probably have like a 65% male audience.
Wow.
Yeah. Which, I mean, to me makes sense because I have like the mind of a 14-year-old boy, and so I feel like that tracks.
So how do you balance with being a mom and doing everything, or is there any balance, or is it or you just everything is a part of your life? How do you manage?
Well, I mean, I'm bossy, so that helps because, like my husband, I just put things on the calendar. For example, our meeting today, I was like, right, 5 o'clock. That means that you need to be home by 5 o'clock and you need to be hanging out with the kids while I go upstairs and do a recording. And so having a really supportive partner helps with
Yeah,
stuff like that. He never like bitches about it or anything. He's like, all right, 5 o'clock, I'll be home at 4:45, like so that helps a lot having a supportive partner that's, willing to take on some of the tasks for you.
yeah. So speaking of guests, what type of guests do you bring on to your podcast?
Yeah, I like to feature entertainers of all kind. I like to feature podcast hosts. I like to feature actors, authors, stuff like that. And so, most like my last guest was Gabrielle Stone, and remember E.T. Remember the movie
Yeah.
E.T. The mom in E.T. is Dee Wallace, and that's Gabrielle's mom, like her
Oh,
real life
okay.
mom. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha.
And she's a best-selling author and she has her own podcast and she's also an actress and a producer and she wears all of these hats and she was an excellent guest. She was really fun. And then stand-up comedians, I love having comedians on the show.
Yeah.
There was
It's
Stefan
funny, right?
Satani. Yeah,
It's
he's
funny when
just
they come on.
there, and that's what it helps me out whenever they're funny. I'm like, I don't feel like I have to be on the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I like to feature, people with different talents that can bring something different each time. And then every week, I have my listeners write in questions on whatever topics that we happen to be discussing. And then I read the questions and then we get to discuss that too. So it's cool because I get to involve the audience in it also.
Okay. So, are you gonna do any? Or maybe you have any type of live shows, like in person?
I don't know. I haven't really thought about that. There's a lot of comedy clubs and stuff like that you can go to, that you can have a live audience at, and maybe that's in my future
Yeah,
someday.
have you thought about doing stand up?
Yeah, I've definitely thought about it, but if I were to do stand up, I would have to like have Depends sponsor me because I would shit my pants 100%.
Yeah, I've spoken in front of people
Mm.
quite a few times, and I've spoken in front of kids, and I spoke in front of adults. Like this is about 8 years ago.
Yeah.
It was like a uh it's like an event, small event, probably I'm gonna say probably 50-ish guys in the
Yeah.
room. Somebody was having an event, and I spoke for about probably like 30 minutes. I did pretty well,
I was
but
gonna say, how did you feel?
I'm always nervous.
Yeah.
I'm always nervous just before I go up there. But
Hmm.
when I get up there, forget about it, because I know
Yeah.
what I'm talking about.
See,
So,
I feel like if I were to do stand up, I would have to really walk a fine line with like having a drink to calm my ass down, but not drinking so much that I like fall off
oh
the
yeah,
stage, you know?
there's definitely a balance
Yeah.
for sure. Because
And I don't know that I trust myself to know that balance just
yeah,
yet.
because I've seen some good comedians go on stage, and I said, yeah, he was drinking a little bit too much before he got on stage.
Yeah, yeah, because that can be nerve-wracking, and, like, I I feel like I would need a drink to calm my ass down, but I wouldn't trust myself to stop drinking before I got on the stage because I would be so nervous.
Yeah,
So, I don't know. I do wanna do it someday. It's on my bucket list. I would like to perform live someday. I'm constantly writing bits in my head as it is already, so I do think that it's probably something in the future that I'll do.
yeah. So how do you reach out to people as a guest to bring them? How do you? Is it? Yeah. Do you just DM them or what?
It depends on the person. I mean, there's a lot of sites that can match you up with people, like I think Podmatch, was that which we
Yeah.
met, was Podmatch, and then there's Matchmaker.fm that
Oh,
I
see, I didn't even
use.
know that.
Oh, Matchmaker.fm is a great one. I highly recommend.
I'll check that.
Um, but the last several guests that I've gotten, Brianne Davis, who is a best-selling author also and an actress, Gabrielle Stone, Whitney Perry Johnson. She's a gorgeous, hilarious model. I met all of them on Instagram. I
Wow.
just happened to come across their profiles. With Gabrielle Stone, I came across a reel that she had made and I thought it was hilarious. And then I clicked on her profile and saw who she was. And so I DM'd her and she was like, yeah, sure, I'll come on.
Yeah.
Uh,
Wow.
I had
Now.
Liz Mealy. Do you know Liz Mealy? She's a comedian in New York City.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
Ugh, I fucking love her so much.
yeah.
I DM'd her and she responded and came on my show. So it was really just like find who you want, don't have any fear, DM them. They're either gonna reply to you or they're not. I've had a lot of people that haven't replied too.
That,
So
that's usually what happens to me.
yeah. It's a numbers game. There are some people that will actually reply to you and will come on your show. I know
Yeah.
Brimstone, a guy that I do the Dirty Little Secrets Club with. I met him on Instagram, and
Yeah.
now we co-host a show together, and he's an ex-pro wrestler. So,
Wow. You know what usually happens? A lot of people will respond back,
mhm.
but then they'll have like second, they start second guess. Like, I don't know if I want to come on or not. I'm like, I'm just talking about relationships between
Yeah.
men and women. But I'm not trying to put you on blast.
I'm like, are you
Embarrassing.
using emojis? You didn't send an eggplant with your DM, did you?
Because a lot of there's on Twitter. I'm not on Instagram a lot, but on Twitter I'm on there a lot, and on YouTube. There's a lot of different people in all type of different relationships, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
sometimes I'll be wanting to like just feature them on there. I want to know, how do you live the life you live? I want to know, you know,
Hell yeah.
because
It's so fun.
there's traditional relationships, there's swingers, there's people are into all kinds of things.
So, I'll give you a little taste of one of the secrets that we got for the show before. This guy wrote in and he said that his wife was cheating on him. Like he walked into the house and his wife had another man in their bed. And he was
Damn.
looking at them through the crack on the door.
Oh,
And she happened to lock eyes with him as she was having sex with this other dude.
whoa,
And so the dude was like, fuck it, took off his clothes and joined the party.
whoa, man,
Yeah.
you can't make this up.
Yeah. And he was like, it turned him on. He said that he always thought that he would have freaked out and like gone bananas and hurt somebody. But whenever he was actually in the moment, he was like, oh no, I could see how turned on she was. And whenever she locked eyes with me, I could tell she still loved me and wanted me. So instead of turning it into we're going to get divorced over this or I'm going to hurt somebody, he was like, she's happy right now. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to make her happy too.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
These are the kinds of guests that I want.
Yeah. 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 It takes all kinds. And you know what? I am here for it. I will never judge another person's
Oh
kink
no,
or,
no,
situation.
no.
I'm like, whatever makes you happy, whatever feels good to you, as long as nobody's getting hurt.
Yep.
I mean, that doesn't want to get hurt a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right?
I always say, whatever keeps your family together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, I'm not. I don't have. I don't. I'm not judging you.
Exactly.
Whatever
Yeah.
you do is what you do, and I do what I do. That's it.
Yep. Yep. But I love it though, because I feel like it was so taboo to talk about, 50 years ago, 40 years ago, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And now people are kind of, I don't know if all of them are waking up. There's still a lot of really, hoity-toities that can't talk about stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's nice to see that more and more people are open to talking about their sexuality and their experiences and not feeling guilty about it and not slut shaming and, all of these things. I actually had a guest on that Trophy Wife Life. Her name is Jerry Ann. And she is an ex-sex worker. And she came on and talked about, her drug addiction and her sex working and, how she pulled herself out of that and her husband now and all of these things. And she was so open about it. And even with her husband, she was like, yeah, I used to be a sex worker. And she was like, if he would have judged me, we wouldn't have been together. But he still accepted her for, who she was and allowed her to be the person that she was in her past. And now they have this great relationship. She's, teaching all about sexuality and stuff now too, which is amazing.
Yeah. Hey, whatever works for people. Hey, I have, I have nothing negative to say about it, none whatsoever. As a matter of fact, this is I didn't know these alternative lifestyles even exist until I went in the Navy.
Oh.
Yeah, because
you were sheltered.
Yeah,
we all were.
Yeah, I was, because when I went in the Navy, I was stationed in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, if you're stationed in Japan, you go to places like Australia, Dubai, Korea, Hawaii, the Philippines. You basically do that little tour.
Yeah.
Singapore, all those places, right? And I think the ship that I was on at the time went to San Diego to dry dock, right? And I met this couple in San Diego, and they said they were swingers. I'm like, well, what the heck is that? What is that?
You enjoy the park? What are you talking about?
Yeah. What is that? And they said basically, well, the husband, he was like, "Hey, my wife, she likes you." I said, "Oh, that's cool." That
Yeah.
kind of went over my head, right? I'm like, "What? What do you mean?" Yeah, I think she's cool too. Yeah, and he's like, "No, no, no. She really likes you." I'm like, "What do you?" Oh, okay. So he said, "Hey, you're in the Navy, right?" I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Hey, just give us a call tomorrow, or whatever, you know." And of course, I didn't call. I didn't call because that's the first time I ever had an altercation like that before.
Yeah, yeah.
And it happened again, and I was like, "Oh, so this is like a lifestyle. This is not." First, I thought it was like more of like a overseas type thing,
Yeah.
or maybe just an American thing. No, this is this is happening
Yeah.
everywhere.
There is a community, a big, huge, worldly community of swingers out there.
Yeah, back
There's there's
the
also a community of people that wear diapers
fetishes.
and like to drink out of bottles and,
Yeah,
get changed and stuff like
yeah.
that. It makes me laugh.
And the thing is, like back in the day, of course these subgroups existed, but today it's with the help of the internet. Oh my
Mm,
God, it's exploded
yeah.
because you can connect with people everywhere now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very interesting. So, I mean, I always like to think back. Like, remember whenever we were growing up and our parents would like look at us with our Game Boys and they would be like, "Oh my God, back in my day, we had to do this." And now, do you have children?
No, not yet.
Okay. So I have, a 16-year-old all the way down to a 4-year-old. And now we have, like iPads and, shit like that. And everybody wants to shit on the technology and say like, "Oh, we're ruining people's brains and blah blah blah," which I mean very well may be true. I'm not a doctor and I have no idea. However, I feel like weren't they saying that same shit to us whenever we were rotting our brains on a Game Boy or,
Music,
Sega or any of that stuff?
yeah, they were
We're
saying the
pretty
same thing.
adaptable. We
Yeah,
change, we roll with the times. Just like I mean, generations are gonna keep going whether they looked at an iPad for an hour or not.
yeah, you know. I just think there's pros and cons when it comes to the internet.
There is a lot of people are getting desensitized now, especially
Now that's
porn is a
true.
big thing.
Yeah, man, that's very true. And a lot of people are socially awkward too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it's like they just want to text or email, and it's like if you tell them to pick up the telephone and call me, they're like, "I don't know, man, I don't know what to say." I'm like, "What? Say hello."
yeah, yeah. I am so guilty of that. Like, I will look at my phone as somebody, it takes a special person. My husband can call me, my best friends can call me, and my kids can call me. And that's pretty much all I want to talk to. Like
Yeah.
if I have to call and order a pizza, I'm like, can I go online and do this? Do I have to call them or can I just,
Oh yeah. Now I'm guilty for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm guilty for that. Any type of business establishment, if I can get away with using the if I can use the internet, I'll use the internet over the telephone.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Only because the bad service. Oh my God.
Yeah, people get attitudes and it's funny. I had a neighbor move in during the pandemic. She moved in down the street. One of my other neighbors gave me her number so that we could like introduce ourselves. But she was very COVID conscious. She had an underlying condition and she didn't want to like go out and meet people. And so I was texting her for like a whole year. I still have not met her, have not seen her face to face, but I've been texting. I feel like I know her. We're like friends. She texts me. She's a Seahawks fan and I'm a Steelers fan. So she texted me, a couple of weeks ago when we were playing each other. And But, I have not actually met her face to face yet, all through texting.
Yeah, that's speaking of speaking of the pandemic.
Uh huh.
I think we're pretty much still in the pandemic. It's
Oh,
not.
yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So what? How has the pandemic affected you?
Um, I used to want to like go out a lot. And now I've recognized how much I love my home.
Yeah.
Like I am totally comfortable being at home. I love hanging out with my husband and watching a movie and having a glass of wine. I just like don't feel the need to go out and do all these things that I mean, sure, I miss going to concerts and stuff like that, but do I really need to go into a place with 30,000 people then where nobody's wearing a mask when I have two little ones that can't be vaccinated? Nope, I'm
No.
good. I can wait on the concert. No big deal.
So how? Yeah, I know you have girlfriends, right?
Mhm.
How has it? I mean, single girlfriends.
Yeah.
So how has it affected their dating lives? You think?
Well, it's actually interesting. I mean, of course, it affected it at the beginning of the pandemic quite a bit, but now it seems like a lot of people just kind of went right back into it. They aren't, it hasn't really affected them at all. They keep dating, they keep going out. They're just not going to all of the same places. If they're going to dinner now, it's in an outdoor restaurant or,
Yeah.
something like that. Or they're, going on hikes instead of going to the bar or,
Yeah.
things like that. So I feel like the environment has changed in which people are dating. But they're definitely still out there and doing it.
Yeah. But I think a lot of people they're outside.
Yeah.
It's not like
Yeah.
they're not inside as much as as they used to before.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I mean, we're in San Diego, so it's pretty easy to be outside here.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah. California is a, is a different world.
It is. It is.
Compared to
It is.
being on the East Coast, it's very different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you think things will ever go back to being the same, just socially speaking?
Um, I don't know that it can. I mean, sure, I think that we'll have, times in the future where, we can just run around without things on our faces, hopefully. But I think that we've all been mentally affected by
Oh
this.
yeah.
And so I think in that
Oh
aspect, I don't think that we will ever go back to the way that we were because we can't. We've all been through this experience. It's all affected us in one way or another. Um, but I mean, I'm hoping that, at some point, nobody's going to be, fighting about, what people should do and mask wearing and, stuff like that. Hopefully, we'll all be able to run around without cloth on our face at some point,
yeah. I don't think that's going anywhere.
You know what? Doesn't even bother me. I'm like, I'll
Even.
fine, I'll put a
Even.
piece of
If
cloth
you
on
want
my
me to
face.
put it
No big
on, hey
deal.
man, I'll put it on. Okay.
Yeah.
Man, you know. Yeah, I don't think things are ever going to go back to being the way it was. As a matter of fact, during the I would say when everything first started during the pandemic, it was like a nightmare to somebody like me
Yeah.
because man, I like being around people.
Mhm.
So when I started hearing about companies, I'm in Atlanta at the time. I started hearing companies shut down the whole building. I was like, oh my god,
Yeah.
how do you shut down the whole building?
Yeah.
I mean, it's 50 flights.
Yeah, that's another really interesting side thing of the pandemic is n- companies realize they can pay people to stay at home. They don't have to rent out whole ass buildings to put people in anymore. They can just make them work from home. Man, that actually, saves them a pretty penny every now and again.
Yeah, they start in Atlanta. They started having people work from home, and they started renting out buildings.
Mm-hmm.
And then they, some people took pay cuts. Some people said,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, I don't want to work."
Yeah.
And then some people, they started cutting benefits too. They said, since you're working at home, you don't need like medical or, you know,
Wow.
yeah, they doing that.
During a pandemic,
Yeah,
rude.
yeah, they're doing it. They said, since you're working from home, what do you need medical benefits for? You're not coming out
Wow, that's
here.
crazy.
Yeah, yeah. So a lot of people quit. They said, well, I don't, I'll just go
Yeah.
somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then you have some companies, they're like taking advantage of the situation, you know.
Yeah. There's a
So
lot of people that, a lot of things that happened during the pandemic that I was like, man, what a bummer. You always really hope to see people like rising up together and like sense of community and stuff like that. And so it always like kind of hurt my heart a little bit whenever I would see people being dicks during such a
yeah,
horrible, awful, hard time.
yeah. One thing I can say is I think a lot of people got a wake up call. Is a lot of people that I know personally, they're when they're getting to know people much more better. I would say they're not moving. They're not willing to move so fast like they
Hmm.
normally would. That's one thing I can say. They're kind of really getting to know people as far as how they live, what their lifestyles like, what's their habits, you
Hmm.
know, like where they live, it's not it's you know it's a little people are kind of like more cautious now. That's what I witnessed.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. And it makes sense too, especially because everything is so triggering these days.
Yeah,
Like just politics all over the place. And they even like politicized things that shouldn't be politicized. But, here we are. It's like and you can't be in the middle. You have to be one way or the other way. And, there's just like no common ground. There's so much fighting. So I can understand why people might be,
yeah,
kind of tiptoeing into situations a little bit more.
yeah. I think not so much now, but I would say like maybe a year, last year,
Mhm.
there were women out here scared to death just being around somebody. They're like, oh my gosh. I mean, it's like, but I mean, if you really think about that, that's crazy. You're
Yeah.
around, I'm talking like people that they know, they're looking like, hey, are you okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aw. Uh,
So that that's that's crazy that
yeah.
people are so afraid that they're they just can't, they're acting like that, they can't shake it.
Yeah.
So I think I don't think things will ever go back being the same, just socially speaking.
Maybe that's a good thing. I mean, I remember whenever I was, it had to have been like 10 years ago, I was getting on an airplane and I saw this woman get on the airplane with a mask on. And I was like, "Pfft, why are you wearing a mask? Oh, germaphobe. Like I was totally judging her in my head. But yeah, of course, she might have, had cancer or something and
Yeah,
couldn't get ill. But there I was being like immature and judging somebody for making a choice to wear a mask on an airplane when in reality, I should have been wearing a fucking mask on the airplane because every time I get on an airplane, I get sick.
yeah. You know what? Let me tell you what's funny. You know, back before the pandemic, if you saw somebody with a mask on, you'd be like, "Oh, he's coming around me."
Yeah.
But today, it's normal now.
Now
That's
you
like,
walk into a bank with a mask or without a mask on and they're like, "Excuse me, can you please put your mask on?"
yeah, that's it's crazy. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah, shit is changed.
speaking of traveling, there's a lot of restrictions.
Mhm.
There's some places I haven't been anywhere. I haven't been outside of the U.S. in 2 years.
Yeah.
There's a lot of places that I want to go, but I'm like, it's not worth going because it's like it's a whole bunch of restrictions and you gotta
Yeah.
take the PCR test or you gotta get. Well, now they say in certain countries you gotta get vaccinated. I'm like, I'm not
Yeah, it's a lot. I want to my 40th birthday is in April, and I have been planning for like probably 3 years now of going to Italy for my 40th birthday. Like my husband knew this was we saved the money. We're going to Italy for my 40th birthday. And now it's almost here and I'm like, well, are we going to be able to enjoy Italy to its fullest potential because of the pandemic? I don't want to spend all this money and go to Italy and not be able to get like the full Italy experience,
going. Yeah,
you know? So I don't know. Hopefully that will happen. But if not, I'll wait a little bit longer. No big deal.
yeah. I'm gonna. That's what I said. I'm gonna just wait it out and see what
Yeah.
happens. Because it's a lot of other countries. They have a lot of restrictions. Like some
Yeah.
countries, if you're not from there, you gotta be quarantined for
Uh-huh.
2 weeks, or
Yeah.
and then you have some countries they'll just turn you around if you're not from there.
Mhm.
You know, and then you have places like Australia. I think they just opened back up.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a couple of friends in Australia.
So I'm like, I just waited out, man. Then some people say, "Oh, you're gonna be waiting a long time." Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, what can I do? What can we do?
Exactly. Yeah. I'm usually not a patient person, but I'll wait it out.
Yeah. So I can I can only imagine if I was single. I can only imagine if I was single how
Yeah.
you know. I don't know.
My sister met her fiance during the pandemic, and their first date, they just like went on a walk outside.
Yeah, yeah, but there's probably wasn't too many places to go anyway. It,
Yeah.
so I was like, that's like the perfect date.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, they were like forced to actually talk to each other. There was no live music for them to like, ignore each other or a movie that they had to pay attention to. It was just them on a walk talking to each other. And I think that actually probably accelerated their relationship. They dated, oh gosh, I don't know, 8, 10 months or so before they got engaged.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. There's quite a few people I know that got married within the past 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it was always a bright side to this.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so with everything that you accomplished so far, what's where do you how where are you going in the future? Where do you see things going in the future?
I just started working on a new project that I'm really excited about. I can't give out too many details just yet, but I feel that hopefully I can get that trophy wife life to a larger audience. And also, one of my favorite things to do is to promote other people. I love promoting, I like lifting people up with me. And so the project that I'm starting now has a lot to do with lifting other people up and promoting them. And so I'm really excited about that.
How did you come up with the name?
I started doing videos. It was just like joke videos about being a trophy wife. But as I'm being a trophy wife, I'm like, I have puke on me from the baby and, my hair's up and it's a mess. And, so I was making a joke out of just living that trophy wife life. And so that just kind of stuck after that.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's kind of like that's pretty much how I came up with my pen name as well. I just somebody else gave it to me. They said, "Ken, oh, you're sharp guy. You're sharp
Yeah.
guy." Right? And then I was doing a video. It actually was a video that went viral, right? I got like, I think I probably got like 50,000 views in like, I don't know, maybe 2 days. And
Nice.
there was like a in the comment section, I think people kept saying, "Oh, you giving us good game, this and that." And it was like a common thread all the way down,
Yeah.
right? It was like a video. I think I was where was I? I think I was in Mexico at the time. So I basically took okay. They kept talking about the game, so I said, "Oh, sharp game."
Yeah, I like it. I like it. I know for mine, so I call myself the participation trophy wife because nobody would really get the joke before. Like if I because my name on Twitter is Trophy Wife Dayna and my name on Instagram is Trophy Wife Dayna. And people started being like, "Oh, you're so conceited," or stuff. And I was like, oh, "Okay," so I had to go in and put participation trophy wife in front of it so that they would get the joke.
So, do you get any I guess backlash or hate mail or
Yeah, I mean, not a lot, but occasionally.
yeah?
And
There's
people
always at
will.
least one.
Oh, always. And, I just try and remind myself that that person is attacking another person on the internet. They're probably having a much worse day than I am.
Yeah,
And, I, send love their way and wish them well and move on with my life because I don't have time to argue with people on the internet.
exactly. So, do you when you're out and about? Do people see you and they be like, "Hey"?
I only had it happen one time where I was up in Temecula and I was doing like at one of the wineries.
Okay.
And whenever I got home, somebody had tagged me on Twitter and was like, "Oh my God, I saw the trophy wife in Temecula today." And I was like, "Oh shit, okay." That'll
Yeah,
stroke your ego real quick.
yeah, that happened, and that happened to me quite a few times.
Yeah.
But I had one guy that tagged me the same as you as it happened as he did you,
Hmm.
and said, "Hey, I saw you in the mall today." So I said, "Hey, how come you didn't say anything? How didn't you say
Yeah.
hello?" He's like, "Oh, I didn't know, man. Maybe you was on your way out or whatever." I said, "Oh, okay." But yeah, that happened to me. I've seen people, being that I was in Atlanta.
Hmm.
Um, you see people. It's full with all types of people.
Oh
Celebrities
yeah.
live there. A
Hmm.
lot of YouTubers live there, and a lot of YouTubers that come through for like on the weekends they live there. So
Hmm.
it's quite common for someone to see you. If you get a lot of views, it's quite common for somebody to recognize you.
Right. Yeah.
But that happened. But it's kind of weird. The first time it started happening, it was kind of weird because because people were kind of like it was like, "Oh, you look. I didn't think you were so tall." I'm like, "Well, how I'm supposed to
They're
be
like, "You're so
short?"
small on the screen."
Yeah, they're like, "Well, that's it. How tall you thought I was? "Oh, I thought you like maybe 5'4" or something like that." I said,
Five
no,
four. How
no,
tall are you?
6'2".
Okay.
Yeah, and so after and the reaction is different from women and men. The
Hmm.
guys are kind of like they'll look at you, right, and they'll kind of stare. They'll be like, "Oh, all right." You'll head bob or keep doing what you're doing,
Yeah. Yeah.
And the women are kind of like they lose it.
Oh, interesting. I wonder if I would keep my cool if I saw somebody. I don't know if I would.
Some women have said, "Hey, you look familiar." I'm like, "Oh, what? From where?"
Yeah.
Online, yeah. And I'm like, "Yeah, there's different reaction, but most guys are kind of like they're not gonna really make a scene. They give you like a look
Yeah.
and be like, "All right, keep doing what you're doing."
Oh my God. So I did run into do you remember CT from the real world? I think it was CT. Was this guy?
Yeah, yeah.
So he was at a bar, and this was many, many years ago. He was at a bar in San Diego, and I like saw him, and I was like, I went a whole different direction with it though. I was like, I know you. And he was like, oh, do you? And I was like, God, how do I know you? And then I went, did we sleep together? And then later I was like, oh no, he's the guy from the real world. We didn't do it.
Oh man, it's hilarious. Yeah, so there's a lot of different reactions, man. But I got used to it after a while, you know. But
Yeah.
now, because where I'm at now, almost nobody know.
Well, you've only been there a week. Give it some time.
Yeah. Well, it's a small town though.
Yeah.
It's small town. You know, it's like outside of Charlotte. Now, if I go to Charlotte, if I go someplace like downtown or maybe to a nightclub, I don't go to nightclubs no more. But if I go to like a nightclub or maybe some big event or whatever that's in the city, maybe some people might see me or whatever. But
yeah,
for the most part, I try to stay on the down low. I don't. I don't.
Well, I haven't quite reached your level, but maybe one day.
Hey, you get there. You get there. But hey,
apparently I need to do a video for 90 days every day.
you know, a guy that at the time, this guy, he was in the I guess he was a techie.
Mm-hmm.
He gave me that idea to do one video. He said do one video for 90 days straight.
Wow, that was a good idea.
Yeah, he was the one that gave me that idea because at the time he had over 1 million subscribers.
Wow.
Yeah, and he started like multiple channels.
Mm-hmm.
So he was the one that gave me the idea. I didn't think, he told me, he said, look, some of the videos is gonna tank.
Right. Yeah.
And he said you're gonna have probably 20 to 30 videos that's gonna take off, and that's where most of your views is gonna come from.
Yeah,
that's usually how it is, and he was right because it's only if I really look back at it, it's only probably 6 months later. It was probably 15, 20 videos that got like over 100,000 that really got a lot of views. And what happened is a lot of those rappers and entertainers started sharing it, and it just took off.
Nice.
That's what happened. That's what happened. And so that's where I got that idea from.
Yeah, I love that. I love when people share their what worked for them. That's awesome.
Yeah. So where do people go to follow you online and check out your stuff?
I am on Twitter and Instagram, and that is at Trophy Wife Dayna, and Dayna is Dayna. And if you want that Trophy Wife life, if you want to go and find that, it's on all podcast platforms and YouTube, and you can go to thattrophyWifeLife.com.
So share the video, and share the podcast, and tell me what you think. Until next time, we out.